Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to another video here. Here's my Halloween Kills review, and I don't have any notes prepared. I'm just gonna say what I liked about the movie, what I didn't like, just my general thoughts and stuff like that. Just because, well, I mean, spoiler alert, I really liked the movie. I really liked Halloween Kills, and ever since I watched it last night, it's literally been the only thing on my mind. And so I really want to talk about the movie, a lot of different aspects of the movie. I want to talk about some of the criticisms I've been seeing online that normally people are entitled to their own opinions. It's totally fine. If you didn't really like the movie, it's totally fine. It's just that there are certain criticisms where I'm like, I feel like you went into this movie expecting something entirely different, or you went into it expecting, or not expecting, but wanting to hate it, right? And I watched the movie and I just had a smile on my face the entire time. I really enjoyed the movie. I think the way that they portrayed Michael Myers and all the mannerisms and all, like, just the music, the actual overall story, I was a fan of. And I really, like, honestly, Halloween Kills is definitely, in my opinion, a better movie than Halloween 2018. Just because you don't have that stupid, like, doctor story. I hated that story in the first one. And this one here, you have this mob mentality story. And, like, I get how people can criticize it. As soon as I get into spoilers, I'll talk about all of that. But I just want to say that, to me, it just feels so pointless to criticize that, just because, like, they did something different with a Halloween movie. Like, what were you expecting? Like, Halloween 2018, Halloween 1978, Halloween 2 from 1980, Halloween Curse of Michael. Like, were you expecting all of those other movies again? And this one did something a little different and you're upset with it. That's the part about it that I'm actually like, that's what I really like about it. They did something different here. And that's the thing, as a huge Michael Myers fan, it was so refreshing to see. And it makes sense how, like, I really like there's an opening sequence that is really great. It really connects the 1978 movie to this current story with the 2018 timeline. And I think the way that they did everything here, it's kind of setting up its own world, its own story. And I'm a huge fan of it. I really like it. Like, it feels like Haddonfield is a real place. And honestly, it feels like they actually went into the lore a lot here and they actually explained things properly. They at one point, and this is kind of spoilers, I guess, it's light spoilers, but the way they portray Michael Myers, like they were saying, that he has a mind of a 6-year-old, or not a mind of a 6-year-old. He is a 6-year-old, like, at heart, but he has a mind of an animal. And there's this whole thing that he keeps doing in the movie where he likes to stand in his sister's room and just look out the window. And then at some point they're like, oh, I don't know if he's looking out the window. Maybe he's looking at his reflection from the window, And so that's something that Michael's just doing. It's like, what is he? You're trying to understand what this person is. Like, he is, we refer to him as the Shape or Michael Myers. In this movie, they really they build him up so much that it's like, yeah, you don't understand what this guy is, and you think about the little things. You think about the fact that he was once like this baby that was just born. He was a toddler. He kind of grew up, right? And then just something happened when he was 6 years old, right? And that's what we see in the opening minutes of the 1978 Halloween. And you just kind of think of that and like what he became and like getting gun or bullets through him and he's like totally fine. Like, it's like, what is he? Right. And he likes to stand in that room. That's creepy. Like, I want to see some of that footage. I want to see a young Michael standing in that room before that night in 1963, I believe it was, because it was 15 years prior to 78. I want to see what that night was like. And like, that's what I mean. I really like how the lore here is sticking with what Michael Myers should be and should have always been, instead of what all the, like, Halloween 2 and 4, 5, 6, whatever, what those movies actually did to the character where he became so supernatural and all that. This one, I think, just it made Michael seem legit. It made him seem like you actually don't know what he is. You don't really get it. But anyways, I really recommend this movie. Honestly, for me, if I was to criticize this movie in the general sense of, like, or not criticize, but if I was to rate this movie in the general sense, and taking all films into consideration, sort of thing, I would have to say this movie's probably an 8.5 out of 10. But for me, because I'm a huge fan of Michael Myers, I want to give it a 10 out of 10. I'm not even kidding. Like, I want to go and get that Michael Myers mask now, that the new one. Although I kind of want to like rehaul it a little bit because there's that yellow on the side. I'm not a big fan of that. I want to go get the Halloween Kills NECA figure now. I want to go get a lot of Halloween stuff now. Like, this movie is just, I want to go see it again. I'm so hyped. I have to keep watching the 2018 version to sort of live in that world. Actually, I'm going to watch the 78 version. It's been a few years since I've watched it. So yeah, for me, this is a high recommend. You have to watch it. And I think if you're a fan of Michael Myers, you've watched the franchise over the years, you know, like dating back to like decades ago, then I really think you're going to like it. But that being said, let's get into spoilers here. So I mean, the big reveal at the end, obviously, is that, Karen dies. And I will say I really like the decision to kill the character off, because you needed something like that. I really believe that this movie kind of feels like I would say like Empire Strikes Back of the Halloween franchise. And in the title, I most likely used Michael Strikes Back just because it feels like that. Michael wins in this movie. He actually does. And I love that ending sequence. And I've been seeing some people complain about it, like saying that, well, I don't know why they had to kill Tommy off there. And like, first of all, I get it. I get the being upset that they killed Tommy off, but I saw him dying in this movie right from the beginning. As soon as we saw the character, I was like, oh, he's totally dying. He is totally a character death here. And you're going to kill some of those characters off, like you do. This is the big one. If they didn't kill off big characters in this movie here, the third one would look pretty bland, you know. And I think that not even that. I think overall, this trilogy, and including the 78 version, is just going to look so sort of pointless, right? And so I'm happy that they did this, because Halloween Ends, yes, there's going to be a lot of death and a lot of like kills, and they're going to get into some stuff. But in that movie, Michael's not necessarily going to win, because how are they ending it, right? That's the question. Are they going to kill Michael Myers? Is he going to come back again? How are they actually going to end it here? Is Laurie going to die? There's all of these questions that we have going into that movie, and I'm just happy that in this one we got what I really wanted, which was the villain won, right? And I think that's just amazing. They killed Karen off, and that I like the whole sequence there, first of all, because obviously Karen takes Michael's mask off. You don't ever see his face, so I'm kind of happy about that. You kind of see the sides a little bit, but they never show his face, and I'm so thankful for that, just because I think if they showed us his face, it removes the mystery there. You're not supposed to understand what evil is. And I think that if you can kind of see it and like really see it, then I think that it would definitely, you know, it's weird to think that like the residents of Haddonfield know what his face looks like, because at one point they actually have his face on the TV screen, and so everyone knows what he looks like. And so it's weird to think that they don't understand what evil is. And yeah, I don't know, the whole thing here with the mask, it is hilarious. Like, he does really love that mask, and not only that, he does just have this animalistic behavior. And at a point, it is just kind of more simple than that, right? There's actually there's a kill in the movie that I really liked, because there's this guy, he was already dead, but he just kept putting knives in his back. And it was like, why you keep putting knives? This guy's dead already, but he just kept putting knives in his back, because he was just like, he enjoyed it, I guess. Like, Michael just enjoyed it. It was stuff that he did as a kid, because they mentioned it in here, which actually I feel like is a nod to the 2007 version, which is that he used to like kill animals and stuff like that when he was a kid. And so, you know, that's just like something that he does now for fun. It's just something that he likes to do. And he was just putting knives in this guy's back, and it was like, holy Jesus. Eventually there was one left, and so he just took that one with him and then went to go find someone else to kill. Like, I just really like that. But obviously it builds up to the ending scene there, where Karen, running with Michael's mask, ends up throwing it on the ground or whatever, and they trapped him on the street. And at this point I thought, oh, Michael's screwed. Like it really felt like he is done here, because you had like 20 people around him, and then they start like shooting him and like hitting him and all that. And I was like, is this actually how they're going to end it? And I felt a little disappointed at that point, because I was like, man, I really thought Michael was going to win here. I thought this is the movie where he'd win. And then obviously there was a lot of setup in here for the third movie, with like Laurie Strode's probably going to be the main character and all that. So I was like, what are they doing with the next one? Because obviously there's another one. And literally I had so many thoughts in my mind. Like, are they going to do a Halloween season of the witch sort of thing, where it's a different thing entirely? Like, what are they? And I was like, no, they can't do that. There's got to be a way that he gets out. And then I thought, oh, you know what? They used to do that in the past. They had him in like the body bag, and he'll break out in the ambulance. And I thought that, but I was also disappointed in that, because I was like, well, they've done that so many times. I don't want to get that exact thing. And then he just gets up. And I love that. He gets up and everyone's looking at him like, what the? We shot you how many times, stabbed you, and you're getting back up? And then he just kills them, everyone. He kills. And I think that was the best thing that you could have done here. Like, you see 20 people there, like, oh, you're screwed. Michael? No. But Michael's going to kill all of you. Like, it was just so perfect. He just killed them all. And, it raises the question as to, like, how do you kill him? What is he even? Right? Like, if you had like 30 people shooting a machine gun at him, like what's going to happen there? Is he going to be fine if you cut off his head or something? Like, is he, you know what I mean? There's like all of these things where I'm like, how? It is really crazy. Honestly, Michael is he's a really fascinating character, and it builds up to Karen's death in the end, where she goes up into Myers' house and Michael's there, and like, oh, I can't wait to see Allison's reaction to her mom dead. Not even that, Laurie's reaction to her daughter's death, because Laurie fought so hard to keep her alive, and it really feels like the stakes have been raised now with Karen's death. Laurie's going to be on a revenge tour now, right? And I will say, like, the movie sort of, like, overall, yes, Laurie wasn't a big part of it, and I had no issue with that. I really didn't. I never expected her to have too big of a role in this movie, and I'm also happy that she didn't, because, like, then you were able to focus on Karen and Allison a lot more. You're able to give more story to just other characters that around it in the Halloween franchise, or I guess Haddonfield, right? And I liked that, because now the third one is really focused on Laurie, because it feels like once Laurie finds out about Michael's survival, that's basically endgame, because she's going to go out there and hunt him down. So in Halloween Ends, that's what's going to happen. She's going to go out there to try and hunt him down, and that's literally the end game. So I totally get why they wanted to do it like this, and I'm actually happy that Laurie wasn't really in the movie, but she was kind of there. You know what I mean? Because if she was in this movie a lot, then I actually think it would have taken away from the movie. And I like Laurie Strode, but I just think that it would have actually taken away from the movie, because I really like the other characters. I like Karen, I like Allison a lot. The whole mob mentality storyline, and there is this whole thing where you eventually get like this asylum patient who like locks himself upstairs or whatever, or I guess Karen does, and then he eventually jumps out a window or whatever. I actually didn't really mind that so much. I could totally understand how that could be like filler, or it kind of felt like exposition or whatever, but I honestly had no issues with it. It was just sort of like no one really knew what Michael Myers looked like. They had two patients that broke out, and so nobody knew what he looked like. Tommy thought that was the right person, but then Tommy saw him and was like, "Oh, are you sure it's not him?" And then they saw him jump out, sort of thing. And it was a commentary on mob mentality and how people, when they're told one thing and when you're around a lot of people, you can easily get just like hooked on that, hooked in this mob mentality. And it wasn't the main storyline, so I don't get people's criticisms about it. But I thought that was fine, honestly. And Tommy's death, like I said, I think they were totally fine to kill him off. He was not even really a big character in the 78 version. And also, it's not even the original actor. And again, you have to have bigger deaths. He dies right at the end. He has a pretty big role in this movie. I don't see the complaints in wanting to kill him off. And I will say, I really liked the beginning sequence when they actually flash back to the 1978 Halloween. I thought that was done so well. Michael's mannerisms, his walk that he does, and the look, they got the look so right with like the hair that's like kind of curls in the back a bit. The mask, the way the mask looks, like how white it is, how really pale it is. It's like a brand new mask. It looked so great. They really built up some newer characters too. Like you had this other little kid who grew up to be, I don't remember what his name was actually, but he eventually was a part of that. Him and his son died. His son was the guy that like cheated on Allison in the first one, and then he got a brutal death as well. I wasn't expecting that. I actually thought he might live, but then that happened, and yeah, that was crazy. I can't end this review without talking about the score. I think the score was done so well. Honestly, I think John Carpenter is just so great. That's what I love. I love that little piece of music where it kind of sounds like a spider walking. It's that thing done with the piano. I really like that. Like you have a lot of nods to the original, but it's not even that, I wouldn't even say it's nods to the original, because this is a part of that same story. So it's not like they're holding member berries, right? And say, "Oh, do you remember this? You remember this?" It's a part of the same story. You're supposed to feel like, there's other franchises where they did reboots and things like that, where they wanted to like do a story 40 years later that never did things like that they should have, right? Like actually keep within the themes of the characters and stuff, and like not just have these moments for the sake of just having them and then do something completely different. Halloween Kills and the Halloween 2018 movie, thematically, it feels like it really is a part of the 78 movie. I really want to go watch the 78 movie now, because like just thinking about the fact that this is a part of that story, that is really amazing, to be honest. Like that is so crazy. Like a lot of those characters that we see, Tommy, Lindsay, they reference a lot of other characters, and that's the thing. There's so many Easter eggs in here. Like it is really like, I would have to make a list, and like there was so much. There was like the masks from Season of the Witch. I believe there was a costume that I don't remember what her name was in the 78 version, but it was PJ Souls. She was wearing this costume, and I saw somebody in the audience wearing that. There were so many nods here to the original movie, and I think what they did with the story here really worked well. And in the first one, it was all about like Laurie was like, "Oh, Michael's coming for me." And in this one here, she still believes the same thing, but it's sort of revealed throughout that no, Michael's not really after you. He doesn't really remember who you are. He's kind of just killing for the sake of killing. And I feel like that sort of hurts Laurie's feelings a little bit, because she felt like she was not like so important, like she had to end this, but it was sort of like she's been living with this fear that Michael would remember her and all that. But Michael had no idea. He was just, they happened to be there during that night, right? And so the revelation of that, and just where they can go now with Halloween Ends, I'm definitely really excited for it. And so, like, you know what? I'm going to rate this movie a 10 out of 10. I honestly really liked it. I know that I'm just being too much of a fanboy with this. Like, I totally understand that. I get it. I really like the movie. I'm going to listen to the soundtrack constantly. Honestly, I wish I could have the soundtrack playing here if copyright didn't exist. But like, it was just so great. I really liked it. I think the movie just did a phenomenal job with the Michael Myers story, with like the character and the story of Haddonfield. I'm really excited for Halloween Ends. Where do they go with Laurie Strode? And I want to know what her reaction is going to be to Karen's death and like Tommy's death. How is all of this going to end? It's called Halloween Ends. It's coming out in a year. We should get the trailer next summer. I'm so hyped. I really can't wait. So definitely, if you've watched this movie, post all your thoughts down below. I really want to see what you guys had to say about this movie. I really like the movie. I think that they did a really great job here. I can understand some of the criticisms. I guess it depends on like what you went into the movie expecting, right? I expected this movie to feel like, first of all, I expected it to feel like half a movie just based off of IGN's review. And watching it, I was like, no, this didn't feel like half a movie. Maybe you're expecting it to be half a movie because you thought Laurie was going to come out and Laurie was going to be the main character. So in that sense, I could see that. Like if you just thought Laurie was going to eventually make it out of the hospital and that would be the end game, then you're probably thinking that, okay, so, the way this ends, Laurie is now going to leave the hospital, I guess. Now the action's going to start. Now we're starting, you know what I mean? So now, in that sense, yeah, I get it. I guess I can see how it would feel like half a movie. But I went into the movie thinking that Michael was going to be the main character. He was going to kill a lot, and they were going to, in the end, Michael was going to win. And I didn't really care too much about anything else other than that. And I think they delivered on all the kills. I think they delivered on the music, on all the epicness of the kills and the story of Michael. Anyways, I'm rambling on so much here. I'm going to leave it here. Make sure to post all your thoughts down below. Hope you all enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.